All right, and we back. Gonna talk today a little bit about hockey. Actually, I know this is weird for you guys to see, but I wanted to do something hockey. You guys enjoyed the last hockey video I did. I know it's been a while since I've done that. Got some more stuff coming on the way, but for sure, want to talk about just kind of where every team stands. We're gonna talk about the Blackhawks first. They, to me, are the worst team in the NHL. They lost 6 of their last 7 at the date of this recording. This team is just not in a good spot. Next up is the San Jose Sharks. I mean, this is a team, they had a nice 2-game win streak before they lost to Vegas, but I mean, they just aren't, they don't look ready to play from the moment the puck drops, and it's very evident. This team is in free fall. Nashville, another team that's struggling a lot. They did lose to Winnipeg, but they had won 2 in a row prior to that. And Philippe Forsberg scored a goal for the first time since November 18th. He's only on pace to score 20 goals this season, and he scored a career best 48 last year. Next up, I want to talk about Buffalo. I mean, they're a team that's been up and down. I mean, they won 3 in a row, lost 3 in a row, and then beat Washington, who's amazing this season. This is a team that's playing a little better, but at the end of the day, they're still not playing well. At the time of this recording, they're 15, 21, and 5. They are struggling. Next up, I want to talk about Seattle. They're 0-2-1 on their last 3. They've only scored 7 goals in that time, allowing 23. Philip Grubauer's won just 5 of his 18 starts this season, and with a career worst 880 save percentage. I mean, this team, they can't stop a nosebleed on defense. Next up, the Islanders. They're, again, another team of 15, 18, and 7 at the time of this recording. And they have a bright spot in Anders Lee, their captain. So far this season, he's already had 18 goals. He only had 20 all of last season. He's on pace for 37 goals in 82 games, which would be, if he hits that number, his second highest in his entire career. Next up, I want to talk about the other New York team, or at least the other team with New York on their name, the Rangers. Rangers 18, 20, and 2. They've split their last 4 since losing 4 in a row. But I mean, Chris Kreider's now hurt, and they blew a 3-0 lead to Dallas, eventually losing 5-4. This is a team that's just not playing that good hockey right now. Next up, I want to talk about the Flyers. Flyers just played Toronto in a Sunday, Tuesday home and home. They lost both those 3-2, and they've lost 3 straight, 8 of their last 11. This is a team that's really struggling to play. And goalie Ivan Fedotov, he's 6'7", took both losses, 6 goals on 42 shots, and 857 save percentage. That is horrible. Next up, I want to talk about the Anaheim Ducks. The Anaheim Ducks, this is a team, they're playing some pretty good hockey, right? They're at 17, 18, and 5. They're playing much better as of late. They were 4-1. They were 4-1 in the last 5 before losing an OT decision to Calgary. But they're in a lot of games. They're playing good hockey, and this is a team that could sneak back above 500 and maybe challenge for a playoff spot. I want to talk about St. Louis, 19, 19, and 4. They lost their last 2. The second one was bad. They had a 2-goal lead in the second period alone, and then they gave up 4 in a row. This is a team, they just don't have the grit, whatever you want to say, but this is a team definitely struggling. Next up, I want to talk about the Red Wings. This is a team, they just changed their coach, and they're 5-1 since Todd McClellan took over lead spot on the bench. And he has the support of the players. Patrick Kane has come out openly and said that he rides with him, and he's one of the leaders on that team. So if Patrick Kane says something, they're going to follow him. Next up, I want to talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins. Obviously, Evgeny Malkin just lost his 209 career game played. You know what I'm trying to say. He finally missed the game. He hasn't missed a game since a 4-match suspension in 2022. 32 points in 41 contests. He's having a great season. Pittsburgh, however, just 17, 17, and 8, not having the best year. Next up, Boston Bruins. The honeymoon is over for interim coach Joe Sacco. He went 11-4-1 in his first 16 games after replacing Jim Montgomery, but he's won 5-1 since then, including 5 straight losses, 4 in regular time, 1 in extra, after getting blanked by Edmonton 4-0. They're still above 500. They're still a team chasing or it's not a championship. I mean, technically a championship, but chasing a playoff berth. But at the end of the day, this team has a lot of work to do. Next up, I want to talk about Columbus. I mean, Columbus is a team that's really surprising. They're 18, 17, and 6. Nobody really expected them to be at 500, especially at this point in the season. I mean, they've gotten 2 points in their last 7, 2 points in 5 of their last 7. They haven't won in Pittsburgh since November 2015. And I mean, this is a team, I don't really think again, I already said it, nobody expected them to be at 500 this late in the season, but they're playing really good hockey. Next up, I want to talk about Ottawa. They are 19, 17, and 3. They just had a 9-game road trip, went 4-4-1. Not terrible, not the best. But that's a difficult couple weeks to get through, and they managed to stay on the other side of 500, so we like to see that. Next up, I want to talk about the Utah Hockey Club, 17, 15, and 7 at this point. They begin a 7-game homestand, but they played terrible on the road. They just played 4 games in a row, only scoring above 2 goals once while giving up 15 in just 4 games. That's almost 4 goals a game. That's tough to win when you give up that many points. Next up, Montreal. They are a team that's hot as anybody. They have won 8 of their last 10. They're at 19, 18, and 3. And they're a resilient bunch. I mean, this is a team, after the start of the season, they easily could have gave up on the year, but they didn't. They came back. They're above 500, and they're definitely a team that we're expecting to see in the playoffs. Next up, we have the Vancouver Canucks. Not really much to say here, but they're 18, 12, and 9. They're in a good spot. They just need to continue to play good hockey, and they're going to move right up the rankings. Next up, I want to talk about Calgary, 19, 14, and 7. They have lost 2 straight, 3 of their last 4, but they did manage an OT win in Anaheim. And at the end of the day, nothing more when you're struggling is important than just to get the ship right. Tampa Bay, this is an interesting team, 21-15-2 at the time. They lost 4 in a row, and then they were playing Carolina, and they blew with a third period lead. They managed to get a goal in overtime to win that game. Tampa Bay, extremely veteran, extremely resilient team. We know how good this team can be. We just need to see them continue to play good hockey. There's a lot of good teams. Tampa Bay, they're a sleeper team. Next, I want to talk about the Florida Panthers. Florida, I mean, they're 24-15-2, not a bad team at all. They won the Stanley Cup last year, but their most recent stretch at home, they're only 2-3 in their last 5 games at home. They're shut out twice and scored 1 goal in another one of those games, which sucks because you want to win as many games you can on your own home ice. They only play 4 more games at home through the end of January, so this is going to be an interesting stretch of the season for Florida. Carolina, even without their starting goalie, I have them here at 11, 24-15-2 as well. But Frederik Andersen, their lead goalie, he's only played 4 games. He's finally back practicing, but he has the stingy 1.48 goals against average. That's incredible. If he can come back, this Carolina team could be a real cup contender. Next up, the New Jersey Devils. This is a team 25-15-3. They have had an incredibly hot start. However, they did have 4 straight road losses right after Christmas, but they did manage to win at Seattle for their first road win since December 19th, so that's a good sign for them. Next up, Colorado. They're one of the hottest teams in hockey. They acquired goalie Mackenzie Blackwood from San Jose, and that has been a huge piece for this team. They're 7-1-1 in the 9 games that he's been on the team. 1.69 goals against average and a .938 save percentage. They are playing incredible hockey. Next, I want to talk about Dallas. 5 straight wins and points in 7 consecutive games, and they were just down 3-0 in the first period to defeat the Rangers a couple days ago. That win on the road for Dallas against New York was their first game in 5 tries. And Dallas has to improve that road record. They're 9-8 on the road and compared to 16-5-1 at home. Next up, I want to talk about the Oilers. They're 25-12-3. They're the best team in the West, second best since December 9th after a 4-0 win at Boston. They're 10-2-1 in the last 30 days alone. They score almost 4 goals a game, tops in the league in that stretch. And Leon Draisaitl has 10 goals. He has, in that stretch, 29 for the season. He has been incredible. The Oilers have been awesome all season. Next up, I want to talk about Toronto. 27-13-2. They've won 5 straight since New Year's Eve and 3 straight with Austin Matthews returned. Next up, I want to talk about the Kings. Not really much to talk about. This is a team that's been really under the radar, really solid, 23-10-5, and they have been red hot at home since the beginning of December. Next up, Washington, 26-10-4. They're a fantastic team. Obviously, we're all watching to see if or when Alex Ovechkin can pass Wayne Gretzky for the most goals scored, but veteran defenseman John Carlson got his 700th point. And he's only the 7th U.S.-born blue liner to hit that number, so that's awesome. Washington has been an incredible team so far this season. Next up, I want to talk about Winnipeg, 28-12-2. They lost to Detroit this past week, and then Colin Miller suffered a fractured larynx. He's going to miss at least 2 weeks. The Winnipeg Jets, they're missing 3 of their top defensemen, and Dylan Sandberg, obviously Miller, and Hayden Fleury, just all 3 of them to IR, just on the defense. This is a team, they're great, but we want to see how deep this team really is with these injuries. Next up, Minnesota. I mean, this team is scalding. 4 straight wins, 6-7, and tied for second in the league in comeback wins with 4. They just came back against St. Louis. They were down 4-2 to win 6-4. The only bad news for this team right now is Brock Faber left with an upper body injury. We don't know the extent of his injury, at least at the time of this recording. But yeah, they look great. But the number 1 team in the league is Vegas. I mean, Vegas 28-9-3. They've won 8 of 9, 9-10. Vegas at San Jose. They haven't lost a game. They're 14-3 there. 17-game road point streak. I mean, it's incredible. It's the second team ever to earn points in its first 17 games against an opponent. It's the 5th longest in league history. To me, this is easily the best team in the NHL. And yeah, that's it. I just want to talk a little bit about each team in hockey. I've done these for other sports. I don't know if I'll do more of these hockey, but the hockey videos you guys like, so I'll probably do some more CHL content. Make sure to comment down below what you want to see me do next. And YouTube thinks you're going to like this video. Find out if they're right.